Here we are, Mary Jane Berlin 2025. What people are saying is going to be the biggest cannabis expo in history.
Love it.
Got a lot of, pioneers, local market makers, global activists.
We're here in
global brands.
This building here, Messe, Berlin, in 1921. So this thing has fucking some history here, dude.
Pretty incredible that, Alien Labs here. You got, a lot of people excited to pick up swag.
Yeah,
I know you guys aren't going home with any of that stuff.
No, hell no, we're not.
What are you most excited about personally? Being here, being with so many fans, so many people that build a whole trip to the U.S. out of going to California and their first stop is connected.
This is what it's all about. We came here to experience the culture of Germany and just really of the plant. We've always been about building, cool spaces for people to connect. And I think at the highest level, that's what, Mary Jane Berlin is. It's for like-minded users to connect with each other and build our network and grow cannabis. When I was sitting in High Times in 2014 and it was just legal in California, it wasn't even legal in California yet, but it was, Prop 215 medically legal. You never dream that it's going to be other countries. Like Germany legalized before America. That's insane, but it just shows you kind of how bureaucratic the American legalization system is and how many people are pushing against it. But we all come together in Germany and 60,000 people under one roof smoking weed together, and it's pretty awesome.
It is pretty fucking awesome. So what can we hope to see with the Connected Alien Labs here?
Oh man, we'll be in Germany in the next couple months, Australia, bunch of different, any of the EU GMP certified spots will be out there in the medical places, recreational places, just everywhere. We got New York lined up. We're doing some cool things out in Florida. So big moves for sure this year. We haven't, our last state we started in 2022 and that was Florida. And now, we're hoping to get some more. We just expand a little differently. It's a little slower. We don't do licensing deals, but, we feel that not only are we, some of the best at marketing and branding and strain selection and product development, but also we're the best at growing at scale. So that doesn't lend itself to licensing deals, No,
I think for me personally, traveling all around the States and, all around the world, it's interesting for such an OG, and really in some ways I would say Alien Labs was the original brand, right?
For sure.
It was always
one of the few
unbranded bag back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I think of, in terms of you guys as pioneering enterprise. But it's very interesting your approach, because a lot of these other brands there, or a lot of the other brands here today that are really making a splash of the show as well, they're in 8 states or 10 or more states, or some of them are even in close to 20 states.
Yeah.
Several international markets. How does keeping such a tight control on the production process and on the quality of flower translate into the brand? Because there are, frankly, brands that the branding might be great and the packaging might be great and the presentation and the customer experience and support might be great, but the product certainly isn't.
Yeah, there's I think 2 things, right? Like one is, we're still building our fans and our customers, right? Like, although we have, we're one of the earliest brands and we probably have some of the biggest notoriety in the space, I think what we're seeing at least is 2 things. A brand will license themselves out to some state and then they have trouble selling, because they're not really known like that. So our jobs, especially through the merch and, being in stores for that, is to create that fan base there already. So when we do go into a new state, we have those built-in customers. The main thing that we looked at, I hate to say it, but is cookies. They went and did a bunch of licensing deals and they didn't have tight controls over their quality, and now their name isn't really worth, a ton. They were early on in that. They were very early. They're in tons of states, but the quality was never there, and so people were just kind of like, damn, that sucks. And you don't want to do that. You spend your whole life building something. You don't want to tarnish it just for the bag.
Absolutely, and I think it's a long game, and one of the things that I think, from my perspective, that makes Alien Labs connected, enduring, and always at the top of the relevancy conversation is that methodical approach.
Just strategy, we planned it out. We planned it like this. It was slower to get into new states, but when we do go into new states, we dominate. We're the #1 brand in Arizona. We're the #1 premium flower brand in Florida. You know, Alien Labs and Connected combined are #1 in California. So like, that's what we want to do. We want to go to where we are and be #1, and that's really the goal. And that's, you know, what we're doing. So
absolutely. Really, I remember for a lot of the people we're lucky to work with, particularly that I'm lucky enough to get to know and really learn from. I always remember their work that I fell in love with first. So that really got me hyped for what they're doing. For me, baklava.
Yeah, I love that strain.
I've never asked you what's the history behind that. Let's just kind of end with that. 'Cause
it was just you know, it was a kosher kush gelato 41 cross that Connected made, and that was part of like the first seed project they ever did, the first breeding project besides biscotti. Like, that wasn't really a breeding project like this. It was just like one thing that they bred. Was that the baklava, the Area 41, and the Sherbaccio. Those are also like our first 3, you know, rec market strains besides the ones that we had, you know, came up with in the Prop 215 era. And it's kosher kush, which is you know, a cut of SFE OG that was blessed by a rabbi back in the day. Across to Gelato 41, and I selected that because it had the gelato terps with the, you know, OG power, which is something I fucking, you know, I always look for power in everything that I select. I don't want anything to be on the shelf that doesn't affect, you know, doesn't work well, right? So it went away for a little while. It was just kind of acting out in the grow, and now we just we reran it, you know, probably 6 months ago now. So it's gonna come out again next month in July. We'll drop baklava again in all 3 states.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, obviously,
I'm gonna fire this new batch.
Obviously, we look out for that.
Well, yeah, definitely.
So what are you excited about? If you can talk about that, like what's going to be the next baklava you think?
We got some really cool shit. we made a Moonbow Skittles cross that was super interesting, and we took that and crossed it to Bisconte, and it's like gave it this tropical terp that I've never smelled before. It's very interesting, like super cool. We just gave a strain to Connected that was Area 41 across to Creme de Menthe, and it's fucking smoking crazy.
The menthol terp's really pronounced on that one?
No, Creme de Menthe isn't too menthol. It's more like creamy, you know, like cookie terps, old school Girl Scout terps. You know, that was a super interesting one. I thought, again, super effective. But the Area 41 just crosses great. We just started doing more crosses with that because it's just a great cross. And this one just smoking crazy good. Really, it's going to be called Chrome for Connected. So check out Chrome. That's a good one. Bunch of cool shit, man. We're doing a bunch of breeding projects with the OG. I just selected an Area 41 across the Propane Valley that I'm calling Saturn. Just kind of harkening back to those early planetary OG days. Is when you know, Lemon Fuel OG has been many things, but before Alien Labs, we used to sell that in LA as Mars OG, and that was like one of the most popular strains of the time, you know? So taking that, which is in the Area 41 lineage, and just bringing it back. So some really gassy shit. Love that.
Do you think the market will respond well? Because gassy terps seem to be polarizing, you know, is a head, you know. It's sometimes we love to smoke stuff that the general market might not respond to.
I think that's a little bit of a misnomer. Yeah, I mean, #2 strain in all of California is Blem Unruly OG, so it sells like fucking crazy, just to be, you know, flat out with you. I think, you know, we live in 2 worlds, right? We have the traditional market, which is, I think, what tends to be more you know, conversational about things that are happening in that market without really having a good understanding of the rec market, which is, you know, takes up a significant amount of the sales for at least California. You know, it's pretty split. It's not even, but it's getting there. It's close. So in the rec market, OG does well, but obviously, you know, another thing, Alien Labs is a little bit of an anomaly. You know, most companies have their one strain that holds up all their sales. You know, CBX with cereal milk, Blend with the Unruly OG. Alien Labs is really spread out between all of our strains because consumers really trust us to select for them. You know,
definitely not standing on just 1 or 2 or 3 legs like a lot of brands do.
Yeah, we have, you know, 10 main strains right now in California, and they all pretty much, you know, sell equal amounts within, you know, $50,000-$60,000 of each other. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty uncommon, I would say, among the people I'm lucky enough to work with.
A lot of people say too, like, Skittles doesn't work in the rec market, you know, but like we sell fucking tons of it. So it's just different for us, but it's also different depending on where your main focus of selling is. So like OG doesn't work great in the traditional market, but in the rec market it works really well.
Very interesting. Well, we've got some boosts to hop and hit to.
Yeah,
And
we
get to.
do, man.
Would
Fucking-
love to end with. You're known as being a very technical grow. A lot of our peers refer to the most advanced facility being yours.
Yeah. The blueprint. if you will.
Always trying out new stuff. Blueprint, of course. Jordan's one of the best in the game.
We're
as well.
the blueprint, but yes, I understand. Blueprint too. Shout out to Jordan. We love him.
I would say, a lot of people look to you, look to what you're doing, look to, if there's a new tech or a new technique, people come to you and see, what you think of it, and they want to bring it to you and give it to you to test first. Why use TerpLoc and what brought you to our solution?
Man, it really, after extensive testing, we found that it just really made the cannabis the best that it can be. The TerpLoc with the moisture lock, it allows it a little breathability, doesn't dry it out too much, doesn't fucking keep it wet, so we really love the grow bags, and thank you for fucking, making it. And we took a chance on you guys, but in the end it ended up being the best thing that one of the best things we did. So
well, we appreciate that, and you've put us on big time, so appreciate you.
Nah, man, you guys did that
appreciate
yourself.
you putting your beautiful work in our bag.
Making a good product stands for itself. If you make a good product, the people will find you and they'll love it, just like you do. So
Appreciate that.
yeah, of course.
Well, in that vein, let's hop around and look at some weed.
Yeah, let's do it.